Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Paweł. And the topic of my speech, of my presentation, actually is called Self-Realization in Self-Government. Many of you might possibly think about your career, about things you will do in the future. Some of you would like to be a businessman, some of you would like to be an engineer, architect, lawyer, doctor, whatever. And it's really great because these are very profitable and respectable jobs. And of course the rivalry and rat race is definitely bigger nowadays. And it's more difficult to reach the real success, even if you are that doctor or lawyer. In fact, in 2014, nearly 80% of our society will have a higher education, which is strange, actually, but that's how the world looks today. And with it all, we have a demographic right now, so this may be definitely one big plus for us in this situation. And just, if you are good at what you do, you would achieve whatever you want anyway. So, back to the topic, I think I'm convinced that each of us has many various plans, and we all dream about achieving our goals. But in order to do that, in 100%, we have to learn how to live in society around us. We have to learn how to deal with any problems. We have to overcome our weaknesses. And finally, we have to get required skills. And how to do that? We need to get involved in self-government. But why have I chosen exactly self-government? I think that it's the easiest, most attractive and effective way to achieve all of those things I've mentioned. But first, let's think about what a self-government exactly is. This term was derived from the German, and in other words, it's Selbstverwaltung. This name already explains us a few things about it. Independent of the present authorities, we decide on our own efforts. We perform additional functions over such authorities as central or even international governments. That's the main point, that's the main thing connected with this topic. But much more than this, it's just sometimes volunteer work for a larger group of people. As many sociologists used to say nowadays, that we would achieve as much as we'll give to the others for free. And that sentence sounds great, but it's also definitely truth as well. So it's work for the communities, it's work for the society, but what type of work, what kind of self-government we distinguish? There are a few. Firstly, it might be a local government or territorial government. It concerns the community of people living in some territories. The examples might be Gdynia County authorities, city departments, or even youth city council as well. And we have functional self-government, which concerns the community based on the relationship of work, on the professions, or some other activities. And here we have a self-advocate, government of lawyers, academical council, medical council, student council, work unions or trade unions nowadays as well, and finally many non-government organizations. And here as the example, let me show you NSZZ Solidarność, and that's the work union. We have student or academical councils in our schools. And finally, there's also Naczelna Rada Adwokacka, which is the biggest self-advocate in Poland. But we as a young people are especially interested in three of them, I guess. And these are non-government organizations, student or academical councils, and finally, territorial or local government. In this organization, we can see many young people who already work there. And about student and academical council, I think I don't have to tell anything, because it's pretty obvious. We all have them in our schools, and we know what it is. But here I can mention Gdynia Active Project as one of the non-government organizations, which is focused, in that case, on many young people who want to build, create and develop many interesting events for the equals. And we have a youth city council as part of territorial government, which is a representation of young people in the local authorities, local government structures. So now let's take a short look at the history of today's authorities and elites. See that they all come from self-government, work unions, or some secret organization which were fighting with the communism. Nevertheless, the world's changed a lot from that time. We don't have communists in Poland anymore, of course, but we can still see the tendency of that process. And now, how can we work in a self-government? How can we self-realize in self-government? Firstly, we are able to do something good for our society, which is a value in itself. But we can also do a lot of things to the whole region around us. We can educate ourselves or the others to create in the future the new generation of elites and to shape their qualities. But we can also do a lot of things to us as well. First, the most trivial but also controversial matter. Here I mean that the connection with the local government structures might be very profitable for us. And I'm absolutely don't think about some corruption or illegal negotiations, but just about knowledge, what is actually happening around us, which laws are to appear and what kind of consequences it might entail. We can also learn how to live in society. We can also learn how to deal with any problems. We can learn how to overcome our weaknesses. We can work we work as a group, and finally we acquire many necessary skills on our field. But it's not only about private and career fulfillment of whom I've spoken, but there's also the biggest thing, I guess, which makes the self-governmental work so especially and important. This will enable some part of that new generation to create in the future new governments, new companies, and they will finally become the new elites. And these are so important for a nation. And now, the best thing, because I'm sure that we have a great potential to become that part of this generation. Of course, it requires a lot of energy, a lot of work, and activities, and skills that we have to get. But see that the opportunity to acquire all of those things, the opportunity of self-realization, the possibility of self-realization in that 100% gives us, inter alia, the self-government itself. And that's the main thing that I would like to tell you today. And now, for the very best end, to conclude, I'd like to ask you something. Let me paraphrase the words of a famous person I think you all surely know. These are Churchill's words. I think they are very closely connected with all of those things about which I've spoken. And I hope they will motivate us a little bit. So, do you think the history will remember us? Shall the history remember us? And shall she be kind to us? And I think that yes, she will. Why? Firstly, because we are members of Gdynia Business Week alumni and some other organizations or associations. We attend to good schools which teach us a high level of knowledge. If we connect this with a self-governmental work, that all will give us a huge advantage at the start, and a huge advantage at the beginning, an advantage that we must not waste. Secondly, because I can see you all sitting here right now, but suggests me that you're an ambitious people who are going to achieve something. We want to spend our time creatively, and that's exactly what we do right now. We are young people who someday, I hope, will self-realize themselves in self-governmental activity. Young, ambitious people who want to build and change the world as we know it. I can see us as a new generation which believes that success and consummation are at our fingertips, and it's just enough to reach. And finally, why the history shall remember us? Because we all, as a new generation, new global generation, will write it with our own hands. At least just a few fine, full, and interesting pages. And that's the thing that I wish for all of us. Thank you.